Hi,
Hey
welcome
Rod,
back.
welcome back. What's up, y'all? Sean, how you going, Tim?
I'm good, Shawnee. It's Tim here. Welcome back to another episode of Drop of Dharma.
Great
Or is
name.
it in hip hop, we might say chill to the sixth episode. It's a little hip hop joke.
Skrill it, skrill it. um, yeah, we got a cool class, or a cool subject for today. Should I start with the fascia thing? Fascia?
Let's start with the fascia. I think fascia is really cool. Sean was explaining it in a class last night. He sent me some cool notes, and we thought
Yeah.
it'd be great to discuss today.
Yeah, they're cool notes. The the whole thing starts with an understanding of what I do is all day is I help people reposition their body so they're not in pain and unlock and realign and re-strengthen. And this article about fascia came up in my awareness yesterday, and I read it and was just so impressed with it because it gave me a better understanding of why we move the way we do, why we train the way we do, and why Tai Chi is so awesome. And it gave me so much appreciation for it, man. Like I was so frothing on it. Like, so the idea that our fascia is a layer of tissue that is a web that runs over the whole body, and muscles are like influenced by it, but also act independently of it. And it can store trauma as tension, and it can store emotions. Yeah, it's such a complicated web, and we only
It's not
really know.
understood very well even yet, even when we analyze it. I know you showed me some pictures of it, and it looks very disgusting when you pull it off the body. So where it's much nicer when it's all connected. And but it does it keep things together? Because I'm not trained in it. So what?
There's fascial lines, so they've dissected them and they've figured out that there's a line of fascia that runs down your head and crisscrosses through your frame all the way down to your foot. There's another one that goes down the front through your abdomen and then crisscrosses down each leg.
There's one. What's the big toe one? Is that the one that wraps around?
There's so many, man. There's the way that fascial network runs is so complicated, but it's like a web. And if you watch like gymnasts do crazy holds, all their body weight in weird positions, it's because of that magic of fascia. We still don't understand it. And athletes challenge it in one way, but science is trying to observe it and study it in another way. And the coolest thing about it is the more stress and strain you apply to it, and then you give it time to adapt and recondition, the stronger it gets. And it loves being challenged and stressed. It's so funny. And if you observe our lives, everything that happens to us is a challenge. And then we learn something, we go through a stage of growth and development, and we come out at a bigger or more powerful or more aware or more skillful version. We've got a bit of
I
experience.
won't do that again.
The fascia is the physical connection to our awareness to this body. And in Tai Chi, we actually learn how to balance this body and bring it into a state of centered harmony because then it's at one with gravity. And that influences your heart or your emotion to feel a certain way and your mental pathway to think a certain way.
Said that fascia is that physical connection to the body, but then you talked about Tai Chi. Now, most people would consider Tai Chi to be moving energy. How does that work? Are we moving energy? Are we not? Is it physical? Can you say more about that?
Oh, Tim, great question. Well, first we have to
Thanks.
understand what is energy. That's a great question. Do you have an explanation for what is energy?
The shortest one I have is energy is information. Everything's energy.
Another way is to what kind of information it's moving or changing. Anytime something's moving or changing, we know there's energy there. And so when we talk about are you moving energy, your body for your heart to beat, for your lungs to breathe, for the circulation of all your blood and the digestion of your food, that's all energy circulating. So when we do anything, we are training energy. If you look at your phone first thing in the morning and you see well, if you do that and you read an article that's really stressful, it might be your political person of choice is now losing their seat.
The economy is about to collapse.
Economy's crashing and you're going to lose, your rights. It puts you in a state of stress. So your energy all speeds up and becomes irritated. But when we move in harmony or when we sit still for long enough, that same energy becomes more still. So whatever we're doing, we're using energy, we're influencing energy, and we are moving our body, which is energy. We are trying to kind of observe or calm our emotion, which is another type of energy. The feeling of love or hatred will make you act very strongly and say something really strongly. So it's all energy. But when we talk about Tai Chi, we're actually aligning our physical structure up so that we can have our body weight behind each move.
So it's controlling the physical to influence the energy through that way. Through physical movement, we're changing the energy that way. As
Yeah.
opposed to we pick up the phone, the economy's collapsing, what's going to happen, what should I do? That's guiding my energy, right?
Well, that's an external influence on the energy. And it's just ideas through visuals and hearing that makes that much of an influence on our feeling, our nervous system. So if you move in a way that is harmony, it has the harmonious effect on the nervous system.
Nice. I'm gonna write some notes of this stuff down because it's all important, but I think that's a key point. So by moving the physical body in harmony, we're harmonizing our energy.
Yeah, well, I mean, moving your physical energy in a harmonious way is going to influence the rest of your, whatever you want to call it, your system, your nervous system, your psychology, emotion.
Because we often say in Tai Chi, the Tai Chi sign is a center, but it's a center, an empty center, they say, because it's a center between two centers. Everything we train is about center. And so by bringing that back to Tai Chi, for example, we get less influenced by everything else. No, okay, how am I supposed to move my body? I become more of a guiding force as opposed to bouncing around.
Yeah, you actually reclaim your physical changing cycle, I guess you'd call it, because if you let the outside influence you and guide you, it might be advertising to make you eat fast food and live an unhealthy lifestyle. And you might watch Netflix because they advertise Netflix more than they advertise gym training or whatever. The outside tends to be towards fast gratification, pleasure of the senses, where training something like Tai Chi is more about creating a deeper sense of fulfillment, and it's not an easy instant gratification. So you have to earn it a bit more. So it's not the most popular thing because it's not that common. It's not seen as a normal thing.
Well, I like that because they write down it takes 20 years to become a master. And most people are like, oh, that's too long.
Yeah. I've only got one Thursday a week.
To
Do
reach
you do online
masterhood.
classes?
I was thinking maybe a weekend express course, because I've done a bit of Krav Maga for 5 minutes, so maybe I'll sort of transfer.
But the main like bridging, like the idea that moving in harmony creates a feeling of harmony and a thinking of harmony. I think that's so hard to share because as someone who didn't understand what that meant before I could do it, and now someone who can run those forms and create that joy when it could be stressful and really frustrating. And then I do connect to this Dharma or this wisdom, and straight away my reality changes.
Isn't it amazing, right? Because I know what you mean. The sentence sounds simple. You just move that way and become peaceful. But, it's years and years later that you realize, oh, I've developed some of that. When I was in Sydney in Christmas, Lanya and I went to the Chinese gardens and I'd never actually been there, even though I lived in Sydney my whole life. They're really beautiful. And so we were just wandering around and we walked in there. And because we were staying at my mum's house, even though it's fantastic, there's a lot of people hanging out there, niece and nephews. And I just felt so agitated. I'm out of my routine. I need to do some Qigong, go to a forest and do Qigong. I'll just do some here. And so I did some Qigong in the Chinese garden. And there were a lot of people walking past. And so at every move, just stop, do it over there. It's not the right place. It's out of harmony. Stuff it. I'm going to finish a form. I don't care about this form. So I finished it, struggled my way through it, and then a couple of ladies came over. And I could feel they were on my peripheral somewhere. Mid-form, couldn't do that. And they came over and they said, wow, that's, what were you doing? She said, I just had such a deep sense of peace watching you concentrate to do the Qigong. I felt good. I didn't realize it could transfer 50 meters.
Contagious. It's contagious.
So we ended up doing some Qigong and some Chen Kun and having a chat for half an hour. But that was so interesting to me. I was like, wow, my change actually kind of rebounded back. That was so cool,
Well, that's the Dharma, Tim. It's the strong, dense center is more powerful than everything around it. So it influences it. So if your arms are the most powerful, they will buckle your spine. But if your spine is the most powerful, your arms follow. The spine is always charged and then the hands have a little bit less power. And when you're the most powerful in a group of people and your consciousness is the most centered and the most disciplined to remain, with the most powerful logic, everything else will follow you. And you in that space, to all these people that are just floating around enjoying the nature, you represent something calm and logical, where else would they see that in life? Because the internet's not calm and logical, Tim. I don't know if
No,
you
it
know.
kind of like, I suppose it kind of pulls the energy in, or there's some reason it.
It just stands out. It's when you go, causation is always running one pattern and you're the other pattern. You're a different rhythm, a different frequency. It's very different. Same as like kindness in a room full of selfish would stand out like crazy. And you said most people are so worried about people looking at them. To do a form in front of people is a lot of center power. You know?
Can I just when you said in a room of selfishness, kindness stands out. Sometimes you're in like a business setting or group setting, and food arrives. All right, and naturally everyone just reaches for stuff. But if you see someone who's got the furthest away spot, maybe it's because my horoscope's a pig and I think of that person. Oh, they can't reach. You pick up a plate and pass it to them. All of a sudden, everyone stops grabbing. Yeah. Boom! Right away starts offering.
Yeah, I mean, but you've always been like that. You've always been naturally like that. You are very considerate in those situations. I'm not. I should offer it around. I'm probably a bit more than some, but not as much as you by nature. You are really quick to make sure everyone's included in whatever's going on. I remember
Thank you.
that was one of the first things I noticed about you, even socially. I remember walking up and sitting down and you were engaged in conversation and I don't want to interrupt, but what they're talking about sounds, I was stuck in something else. And how do I get in on that? And I kind of just, my awareness kind of crept into it. And you straight away went, oh, Sean, I was just explaining to them. And I'm in. That was easy. You're hyper aware for making sure everyone's sharing. And that is a rare rhythm. And I think, yeah, you would stand out in a business meeting based around food and drinks, especially.
It was so funny because in that meeting, I was such a junior person in that meeting. It's kind of awkward but it was so funny because the moment I picked the plate up and passed it, it was like the energy traveled so fast through everyone. Everyone immediately like stopped what they were doing and went into share mode. And like, I didn't do it for that purpose, but it was just funny how quickly the energy shifted. I was like, wow, like a lightning bolt. Everyone was like, oh yes, actually, would you like this? Would you like?
Let me get one for you. Yeah, fully.
It was like, oh, that was aggressively sudden. So it was funny.
That's crazy. Okay. Even adults need to be reminded of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your kids do it automatically. Hey, so we started in fascia. We talked about energy and Tai Chi. How can the people listening at home or listening in the car, what's something they can take away from this so far, you think?
One of the most direct connections to our nervous system we have is breathing. And if you're sharp, shallow breathing up in your chest and your nose and your mouth, sorry, that's leaving your system in stress. So we learn belly breathing and we learn full body breathing. And then we learn tendon breathing. So every move is like open moves takes in air, closing moves sends it out. And it like all the moves have an in, out, and from under to up procedure. So lying down and taking 30 slow, really timeless nasal breaths and letting your spine match the floor will begin to unite your structure with something straight. So you actually start straightening your center and the breathing will soften your muscles. And if you want to learn more, I'm launching an app soon, so I can share it with you through that. Or if you're in Sydney, come see me. If you're in Taiwan, go see Tim. But yeah, you've got to like find systems that can help you train and improve the condition of your body, because fascia is your consciousness connecting to this realm. And if your fascial network is all blocked and not functioning, you're more likely to be in a terrible mood. Your organs won't work as well, and your movement will feel achy or sore, or you'll get injured. It's just fact of life, cause and effect.
Awesome to share. If someone was already go to the gym and they're like, yeah, I do my jogging and go to the gym, how can this understanding of fascia and energy and that kind of soft breathing influence them in a different direction, for example?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say... Sorry, you go.
I was just saying, like, for example, if they're training one particular style, does the fascia then just move in that particular way? Is that...
Yeah, it ties it in certain knots. So I would branch outside and get variety. Make sure what you're training is connected to some kind of real logic or wisdom or philosophy. Otherwise, you might be creating problems and training your body out of balance. There's a cool saying, like, you wouldn't build a house without an architect, and the right foundations laid, your body, you have your whole life to train it. Take your time and build it properly. Because I've seen people, I was in the gym once at 6 in the morning, and this guy came in, he was in a real hurry. He was like, the door wasn't open when we arrived. He was in a really frustrated headspace. I got there and opened the door and like let him in, and he ran in and dropped his bag and came in, and you see him pick up lightweights to go do a warm up, and then the look on his face was like, I don't have time for a warm up. I've got to put that down, and he picked up heavier weights. Hook, gonk, watched his shoulder dislocate right then and there, and he's just walked over to me with his arm like, oh, I dislocated my shoulder. Can you help me? And he's turning white, and I looked at him. I was just, I can't help you, bro. I'm not insured for an emergency shoulder relocation, and you're not even training. Like, I don't know you, man. Like, I can't. I put him in a cab and sent him up to St. Vincent's Hospital, and yeah, it was just that moment of like, I don't have time to train carefully or wisely has now changed the path of his physical structure. He's going to need help for that shoulder for a long time. That's not a simple repair now at that weight. It was like 15 kilos and it went that way and
Oh,
dislocated that. So
oh, gross.
6 in the morning. I hadn't even had my coffee and that happened. I was like,
Oh, that's a
come.
lot. That's a lot.
So
It's not
yeah,
just in like in the movies. It's not just, yeah, sure, mate, dunk and just pop it
jump
back in.
into a wall. But if I were to give you any advice, it would be to prepare your body from the ground up. Make sure all your joints are capable and mobile. And for that, you need tissues that have good condition. If you sit too much, they become like rope or seatbelt straps. But if you massage them and train them properly, they become like elastic bands that can bounce and move you around. Makes everything easier because you're recycling energy with every step, not regenerating it. You're having to crank a seatbelt.
Is this the name of your new book on training, changing steel cables to elastic bands?
Yeah,
I
becoming
tend to
supple again.
become, I like that one.
I was supple once, Greg. Can you milk me? But yeah, I would say train properly, train carefully, and seek out people who either represent balance and agility or have healed themselves or something. I don't know. Like, yeah.
I'm just going to heckle you. What about someone listening who's like, man, movement is like natural to the body. So like, doesn't the body like know how to move already? If it feels
That ego
good, shouldn't I do that?
that ego took me so long to break. I was playing first grade rugby and I was pretty good at like most of the stuff I did, but you have no idea how blocked your system is until someone unlocks it, and you have no idea what harmony motion feels like until you finally connect to it. And the joy, agility, and recovery time of true perfect motion, I hope you all get to experience it because I am so appreciative. I even tasted it once and I try to connect to it as often as I can. But yeah, don't think that what you're doing now is the final, because I'm still humble enough to admit now, after having my ego smashed so many times, that I have no idea what that final is going to feel like, and my heart and my mind is open to how amazing it can be. Because some of the moments I've had in Tai Chi, I've had so much joy that I felt my face was going to explode from the smile. It was just it was insane. So yeah, if you're not feeling that kind of joy and you want to, you can tweak your training. You can reconsider it. And if you have headaches or injury or pain, you know, there's systems to fix all of that. You got to be humble and open to find them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, interesting to talk more about fascia because I think sometimes, at least in our philosophy classes, we talk about Dharma, we talk about philosophy, we put martial arts in there, but then that distance from ancient wisdom to modern human life, how can I apply these? Is often, oh, okay, seems to be a bit missing in there. So it's cool. I think fascia is a good way to say, oh, actually, all that energy training, the system's in there to be used. It's just that we haven't learnt a lot of that yet, or we might have felt some things and not pursued it, for example.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not abstract. It's really concrete. You have a fascial network. It's either in alignment and your body feels good, or it's out of alignment and you feel suffering, discomfort, and pain. It can't be more simple than that, really.
But can you talk about that more? Can you talk about pain? So does pain connects to the fascia? It's not a subject I know a lot about, so it's cool to ask questions.
Yeah, yeah, Tim. Thank you.
In the think tank.
So you can't find your pain. You can't pick it up and tell me where it is. It's just an information, like anything. So we feel a signal, and sometimes there's something called chronic pain, which is where your nerves are just trapped in feeling pain. They've been in that feeling for so long that they don't know any other information. As if you like ate something that had a really strong flavor and your tongue was just coated in that flavor forever. Or you smelled someone's perfume and it got jammed in your nose and it's all you smell forever. Pain is that. It can be that. So your body's always changing. It's either changing in a way that it's going to be more optimally performing or it's going to deteriorate. The same as everything in the universe goes through those 4 stages of change. It appears, it builds, gradually gets destroyed and disappears. Life forms are born, we go through aging and then suffer illness and die.
Sorry, can we just pause on that so everyone get that one? So 4
Yeah.
cycles of change for the universe: appear, develop, destroy, disappear. Is that what you said?
Yeah, destroys and disappears. As if you imagine a house being built, you'd create the foundless space and then the materials would all appear and then you'd put it all in position and build it. And then over time it would slowly get ripped apart. And then one day the jungle would grow over it and the house would no longer be there. It would have disappeared.
And then the four phases for life forms was birth, aging, illness, and death, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, sorry, you were talking about that in relation to pain.
Yeah, so when you feel pain, it's a sign that your changing system is flicking over into the destruction phase. Something's gone wrong, something's destroying, and you haven't created the circulation or the conditions for the body to heal it yet. So the signal's telling you, fix this, fix this, fix this. And it can be that for me, my hammy used to always feel achy and sore. And I just thought it was tight and I thought it was stiff. And then I started training it and brought strength and blood to it. And that's what fixed it. So making it more powerful to handle my big juggernaut frame as I ran down the field, mate.
No, because I'm massive.
I'm huge, bro. I'm up to 50.
Did you know I had a similar experience with my calf? It just kept pulling. Big toe stretching from yoga, and how can I stretch that big toe and that tendon? And what was crazy, you were saying use the sled and get the knee lower so you're getting the real stretch on. A few weeks ago, during that sled, it actually kind of pulled open, I don't know, an extra ½ inch or something, and now there's almost zero tension under my foot. My whole lower leg and everything is all lovely, and now all the tension's kind of just higher. Wow, it can be trained.
Yeah, the definition of function is it works properly, and the definition of dysfunction is when a system doesn't work and that results in pain. So for your calf to jam up like that, it's stopping that function appearing. It can't do its job, so you get that tight. That's just a little signal letting you know, Tim, if you want to do snap kicks over your head, you have to open the fascia. You have to pay attention to the fascia.
Yeah, you can do them, maybe head height, but if you're fighting the giants, maybe need to warm up.
What if you want to stand next to Bruce Lee and kick really high, yeah? You must make it look cool.
So pain is out of function? Is that what you said?
Dysfunctional, yeah. When it's dysfunctional, we get pain. And it's not just physical, but it's more concrete when you talk about it physically. But function is also a dysfunctional relationship is obviously when you're both just pissing each other off and triggering and destroying each other's productivity and prosperity. That's dysfunctional connection. Or a dysfunctional family is when no one feels loved, everyone's upset and stressed, and no one feels safe. So that's going to result in discomfort in the heart, and mental pathways will be a little bit skew-if, but physical discomfort is a seed for all of it. If we can kind of take away the iceberg of problems in the body, so many of our discomforts go away. But on the flip side, if you connect to such an extreme state of awareness through how you move, being able to create these poses with the fingers, we put them in our forms and it makes sure your neural network lights up to your hands. When my grandfather went into a nursing home and got dementia, man, he just didn't open them much. They were just closed. I had to open them and he was just always closed. I didn't realize it at the time, but the consciousness, we are born squeezing our hands to open, to grab and play with this world. And then at the end of our life, we're holding again. And that's if we follow that birth, aging, illness, and death. But Tai Chi is a philosophy that observes how energy moves in harmony and how to become that harmony flow, harmony motion. So instead of entering into the destruction phase, you stay in the development phase longer. And the more detailed you can live in harmony with that philosophy, the more developed your consciousness becomes. You don't go into that devolution destruction phase. You just keep opening and becoming more aware.
Oh, so that's cool. I might just summarize some of that for someone listening. So we were talking about fascia and then asking about pain. And then you mentioned the Dharma for today, which is the 4 cycles of change, one for space, one for life forms. So for space, appear, develop, destroy, disappear, or back to empty. And the 4 phases for a life form, birth, aging, illness, death. So that's the Dharma. And then that was cool. You connected that to pain, saying, okay, well, when space changes, it goes to destroy phase. And when for a life form, it goes to a illness phase. It's out of function. And so Tai Chi observes how to stay in, is that what you said? Stay in appear and develop, stay in the first 2?
Yeah, well, Tai Chi is just an observation of how space moves. So the dense, powerful object will be able to influence the outside and remain in harmony. So if we can unite our structure to that, power from foot, center straight, and our hands are lighter, instead of walking through life leaning forward and picking things up from the top of the body, you actually position your legs and position your center in a way that, and take care of it, obviously. It's a philosophy for taking care of your body, taking care of your structure. Then you're in a better position to handle everything and you don't fall into pain. Yeah, it's a lifestyle wisdom, really. It's beautiful.
It's quite cool, and it's a frustrating puzzle sometimes because I've just learned something and then it's not later on till actually I didn't know this, and then it's kind of fun. Well, what I've learned now is cool, and it'll just get deeper and deeper. There was, we can't.
I remember being on the balcony when I first connected to the Qigong poses, and my flatmates at the time were having a party, drinking and smoking. I can either keep doing that or I can go out on the balcony and just hold these Qigong poses. It was Kung Fu, the first one. Pure. It was funny, man. And they were laughing at me, making fun of me, but my center was already beginning to build. I would rather make my life better than have my friends think I'm cool, even though I can see the direction that's heading is destruction. I don't want destruction. I want development and growth. So, wise choice.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how life changes, and then now you can see in a situation where everyone's kind of doing that stuff, but people's faces, they actually would much prefer to be doing something else, or they probably see you doing that and they'd actually love to be out there doing that, but afraid, better stay in, fit in, that kind of stuff. So
100%. One of the conversations I had when I pulled away from one friendship group was one of them saying, I wish I could do it, but I can't. So kind of don't leave me. That was the subtext of the conversation, was don't leave this lifestyle. I can see you have the strength to, and I don't. Please don't leave me in it. And I just had to get away. I couldn't let that guide my life because it's just blind emotion, really. He didn't have any control over his life force. Yet he
and it's
wanted me to follow.
tough as well to make that decision. I had to stop hanging out with quite a few friends because of just the lifestyles I didn't enjoy anymore. And the sad fact is, you think, if I didn't take drugs and party as much, would I spend time with these people? I don't want to do it, but also, and so there was a time in my life where I would have some friends, why didn't you speak to so and so, or how come you didn't come to this thing? It's not that they don't support me being healthy. You could still feel that, but actually, what they're really saying is, I would love to do it, but I can't for whatever reason. If it takes a while, because you're like, why wouldn't you want what's good for me? Aren't we meant to be friends, right? But it's like, no, actually, you want that for yourself, but it's just not a possibility for you right now.
It's as if they don't like your strength, highlighting how they don't have that strength as well.
That's true.
That's a big one, I think.
Yeah.
Being able to break free from stuff like that. There's another philosophy that we should share, which is we have to learn how to let things go. And we practice that physically in Tai Chi. We actually practice shrug and then let them go. And then you practice, like, anytime your hand is traveling from high to low, it twists and follows gravity. And there's a whole letting go is a philosophy that we can action, and we action it in Tai Chi. But it also needs to be actioned in emotion and mental as well. And it can be holding on to an opinion. You need to let your opinion go to connect to a higher perspective. Sometimes your opinion's right and you should fight to the death for it, but sometimes it's good to let that opinion go.
Oh, so that's cool. That's an emotional practice to just.
I think that's more an opinion is a mental one. An emotion would be when you lose something, you have to observe everything in life is temporary. We never had it for a long time. Even this body, we only have as long as we can keep it in the development phase. And if we're not even trying to keep it in the development phase yet, we shouldn't expect it to last too long. So anything we can connect to through this body is obviously double temporary. We can't guarantee we'll hold it, not lose it. Even if we can afford it, even if we can get our hands on it, which we can't guarantee we will. I've wanted to be a fireman and I never got there. I'm only 40. There's time.
There's
But I'm
always
already
time.
dream.
That reminds me of one, the 4 keys to live forever.
Ooh,
Forever young.
What are the 4 keys to live forever, Tim? Just for a nice soundbite.
Physical, no tension. Mental, no worry.
Perfect.
Psychology, no fear.
Perfect.
And emotion, no holding.
That's the quadfecta.
Do you know, when I heard that, I thought that was the most awesome thing ever. And then I wrote it on my wall, on my ceiling in my room when I was still living at home. And I was in between houses in Texter, and I wrote it above my bed, so it would be the first thing I saw every morning and every night. Let me tell you, my mum was not pleased about that. I ended up having to repaint the room, which was fine. I cannot forget.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So let's say it again. Physical, no tension.
Physical, no tension.
Was it psychology, no worry?
Mental, no worries.
Mental, no worry. Emotion, no holding.
Emotion was harmony, but no holding is probably an easier way to say it. Emotion was harmony.
Okay. And then the last one was
Psychology, no fear.
Psychology, no fear. Yeah, that's awesome. It's the starting of no tension is a cool one. And that's the Taoism levels as well. You have to have a goal. Tao is the way, and it's a really deep philosophy that explains the perfect path or the way to approach life. It's a philosophy about how to observe and approach life. And no tension in the body is how to create physical harmony, and no tension in the heart, and no tension in the mind. What you just said, no holding, no
That's cool. No
nagging.
tension in the body, heart, or mind.
Yeah, and that will keep your path to the goal perfect. If you just stay joyful in each moment of that journey, you don't create those tensions. But in order to do that, you need to develop technique. Because in Waterman, if you sit in front of someone who knows how to attack you really quick and you don't have all the techniques and you're just water, you'll just be on defense getting smashed all day. It's only when you have good technique that you can actually create in that moment. So having technique is one way to get rid of fear, and fear creates tension. So it's all development is a big loop in on itself. It's you only get it when you keep observing more detail and become more sharp, more aware. And if you're
Oh,
not
that's
able to let go and drop, you won't be able to recycle energy, so you won't be as fast. It's so deep. I love it. It's so powerful.
it's so cool. Thanks for sharing. That was cool.
Awesome. No tension, let it go. And the fascia.
And the fascia, we covered a lot. Why don't we wrap it up there?
Thanks, man.
Thanks very much. And so, what was the takeaway practice? I think it was a breathing one you shared.
Yeah,
Lying
lie on
down,
your back,
breathing.
let your spine match the floor and slow belly breathes. Be in the moment and feel air slowly filling your whole system and slowly exiting your whole system. And you become this big 4 element balloon. It's beautiful meditation. Get 30 deep breaths out and let your spine match the floor as best as possible every day. And then jump on my app and we'll show you all the moves in the app too. It's going to be launching soon, Tim. I had a marketing meeting this morning.
Fantastic. Send me a link. I want to check it out. That's cool.
Will do. Sweet.
Thanks, everyone. And we'll catch you next week.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Take care of your body. Does a lot for you.
That's a lot for you. See you later.
Guys.